Hello, everybody. I am your host, Henry Gout, and welcome back to the Slice of Life podcast, episode 2. So, this one's going to be kind of different. I don't have the boys with me, but I got a good friend of mine, actually, my brother's friend, Carl Johnson. How we doing, bud?
Hey, how are
Doing all
you?
right. So, just a heads up, we had to re record this. So, if we're a little bit fatigued, just a little heads up here. So, Carl, I know you're a teacher, right? And, so
Yeah,
if you want to give some detail into that, like when you graduated, that'd be kind of fun.
sure. Yeah, so I was a student at Pacific Lutheran University for the last 4.5 years studying music
Yep.
education. Um, I then was able to find a job opportunity while I was doing my student teaching last
Yep.
fall of 2019. And it was out in the Aberdeen School District, and it seemed like a perfect job, a dream job where I had an entire program under my wing. I would be teaching grades 5 through 12. I had five fifth grade classes, a sixth grade class, a seventh and eighth grade class, and a high school class of just mixed grades. It was a great position. I moved over near the city in January and started working on January 6th. Everything was going great until COVID started happening. Then we started to have to cancel trips and prepare for online
Yeah.
learning and all that fiasco, which is still no one knows how we're really going to go with it next year, but there's plenty of people thinking about it. Um, I will say that um, during all this time, the district had already been planning to make a 2 million cut to the district-wide budget, but unfortunately, they had to increase that during COVID-19 to 6.4 million. And what they did with that is the first people that were cut were provisional teachers, and provisional in the matters of teaching in the state of Washington means that you have taught um, under 3 years in the state of Washington for your first 3 years, or you've taught those 3 years, but you're new to a school and you haven't taught in that school district for one full school
Yep.
year. So, me being new to the teaching world and having a job, I um, I knew that I was right at the beginning of that provisional list, so I got a letter from the district saying they would be unable to bring me back in the fall, um, which is really hard information to get when you
Yeah.
move your family out to the middle of nowhere and hope or believe that you're going to have a job for a long part of your
Yeah.
life. Um, so that was really hard information to receive, and has been causing kind of a panic for me and my
Oh,
fiance.
yeah, dude. I'm sorry
Um,
about that.
but we're trying to figure it out. And I will say that the orchestra, they do have a new director for next year. It's another teacher in the school district, and we're really glad that at least he'll be in charge of it next year. As much as I wish it could be me, I'm just glad it's back. But now I'm currently finding a job again. I'm in the job market, and I've applied to a few school districts: Olympia School District, Bethel, and the Shoreline School District. Unfortunately, I didn't get the Olympia position just because someone had really good or had more experience than me. They did tell me that I had a really good interview and I answered the questions really well. So that was encouraging,
Mhm.
but it's someone had more experience. So I'm hoping one of these other jobs uh, bite on my bait that I've cast out there.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to figure out how to move to one of those school districts. That'll be
Yeah, I
interesting.
gotcha. If you could come a little closer to the computer, I could hear you vaguely, but I'm not sure if the audience did. But hey, that's pretty cool. So I'm just glad. I think I like about you
Okay.
is that you refuse to give up on something. Like if it doesn't work here, try somewhere else. You're very persistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really like about you. And in fact, you've kind of inspired me a lot to do this show and all these shows here because for the
Oh.
past couple of years, I felt kind of lost there. I was kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to do this stuff, but I just said fuck it, I'm gonna do it, and a year later, here I am. I got, like, 3 shows. I'm not sure if they're, like, I could call them successful, but people that I know who listen to them like them. So, that's something.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know what the future holds for me for this platform, but, I'm pretty excited to see it, man. In fact, this is the week I've probably recorded the most episodes for all my channels. Like, I've recorded around 5 episodes for Gallet Reviews, 3 for
Sure.
Bring On Entertainment, and 2 for Normie Politics. So that's around 10 to 12 episodes,
Uh,
like total. And I actually have after this, I actually have like a video chat with Kong. So maybe he'll roast my ass. I'm not really sure, but it's always kind of nerve wracking to produce your show your work to the world because you're kind of worried. What if it sucks? And that you have to
hmm
have that feeling in the back of your mind when you're making it. Because like, hey, what if this doesn't work out? But you also have to say, hey, maybe if it doesn't work out now, but maybe in the future it will. So you always have to like
hmm
be a gamble, man.
Well, and with that idea of like, what if my product like isn't good? Like, I think a lot of, like, if you have a product, like my product is music education and being able to teach students how to play their stinger instruments. Sorry also
Oh,
earlier
you're
about my
fine. You're
mic
cool.
being
You're
quiet.
fine. Hey, you're good at this.
I see that it's really
There you go.
working now. Anyway, yeah, so like always thinking about what can I do better, and like how can I better improve my product, and um, tell or my customer that is asking for my services, like seeing what they want and really trying to find how can I really deliver that other than the fact of years of experience, because that you can only get by being in the position and working that job for a long time. So that's frustrating when you don't get a position based off of that, just because I'm trying to get experience but you're not giving it to me. Anyway, I think always having that idea of I'm learning on how to improve myself, how to improve my product, is vital to anyone, and especially if anyone's hunting for a job during this time, is like really standing out amongst the crowd and showing your employer that, oh, I am the
I am the
stuff.
shit.
Like I am, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm really here to work, and I can offer you a great product that will not be a worthless
Yeah.
investment.
There you go. That's pretty true. So, like, I want to give you some of my work experience. So, like, after high school, I kind of didn't really like go to college right away. Like, I actually a couple months like before I started community college, I sort of like worked very hard, like at Fred Meyer, and though I wouldn't say I like enjoyed all my time there. I still would say that like I how do I say this here? Is that I got stronger there, like, every time I, like, kind of failed, I kind of got stronger from it, whether it's dealing with a customer or not doing
Hmm.
the job right, I still felt like I got back up and, tried harder the next day, and though when I did leave, like, earlier this year, I felt like, "Hey, that was a very valuable experience, and that looks pretty good on my resume," for job interview,
Yeah.
and now, like, doing this and I also do an eBay business where I sell a bunch of crap, I feel like I'm pretty proud. I'm, like, making my own work, so, yeah, it's really just how you deal with, situations, man. It really does 'cause,
Hmm. It, it's honestly just being like
yeah.
persistent and having that high level of persistence. Okay, one sec. My dog's on my lap and he's freaking out. Okay, sorry about
Ah, that's cute.
that. But having that high level of persistence and just keep being on it and sending out multiple job applications, even if it makes you dead tired at the end of the week and all your other friends are going out on Friday night, if they
If they
could,
could, that's fun.
uh, if they could, and you're just send these applications out because you see yourself um, at a certain place and you have persistence that you want to get there now or at least get
Yeah,
closer. um, so having that level of persistence will open doors and people will see that, um, in the future, and it just takes it just takes time, which can be
Mhm.
annoying, um, but having that persistence throughout all of it and that goal at the end of the tunnel, it has to be there.
Time is the enemy of us all, man. Like, time is the
Yes.
enemy. Anyway,
When they always ask the question of what superpower would you like, I always say
yeah,
time,
yeah,
because time controls
yeah, that's
everything.
true, but I'd honestly, for superpowers, I mean, I'm a fucking comic book nerd, I get it, so I
Yeah.
would probably pick I don't know, that's, like, a really good question. Maybe Superman's powers, everything, just, like, what are you good at? Everything. You know, just like that,
Mhm. I'm
yeah,
strong. I can see through
yeah.
walls, and I have lasers.
Yeah, it's sort of something there, and there was actually speaking of, DC there, I know it's, like, off topic here, but I've been talking about this a lot in the other podcasts, so, like, there was you probably don't know about this, but, do you know who Joss Whedon is? Okay,
Yes.
so this is gonna probably blow your mind. So, like, Ray Fisher, the star of, Cyborg, who was in Justice League, came out and pretty much
Mhm.
said, "Hey, this Joss Whedon guy's a huge prick," and stuff like that, and it was really kinda surprising. It's like, man, it's like a high profile actor like that, just sort of, like, going after the director. I mean, he's not super high profile. He's, like, in, like, one movie. He's, like, a Broadway actor. What would you think
Yeah.
about that? Like, going into your, like, thing of passion, right? It's sort of it kinda reminds me what you're kind of, like, saying here. It's like, "Oh, you think of this as a blessing to not be there anymore. You're trying to find a new opportunity." Yeah,
Mhm. Well, with that question,
yeah.
just looking for a little more context because I don't know whole bunch
There was,
about
like, a
that
bunch of tweets.
situation. But did well, like, did either one be proven right or
Well,
wrong? Um, just well, with the actor calling out Josh Whedon, like, was he proven to be as bad as he
I
tweeted
mean,
about,
honestly
or was he
honestly,
just
we're probably never
doing
gonna
that
find
to
out.
be
We're
angry?
probably never gonna find out,
Sure.
honestly. It's behind closed doors. The only people that will probably know the real answer are probably gonna be the rest of the cast, and God, they probably won't even do that. I don't know, it kind
Yeah.
of, the reason why I brought it up is because it kind of reminds me of you saying, "Hey, you're not afraid to speak your mind on something," and
Mhm.
I'm pretty happy that, you have that quality, man. Speaking of, dog stories, my dog is going crazy here as well. He's just, he's, like, rubbing himself, like, over his freaking bed, he's like a
Uh-huh.
literally like a carpet.
Well, and with Josh Whedon and the actor calling him out like that, like, honestly, I don't know which side to believe until I have more context, so I can't
Yeah,
really form an opinion or
yeah,
judgment on that just because I don't know what truly
yeah,
happened. But when someone calls you out like that, and especially if you have a product or a brand behind your name or an idea behind your name, I think at that point, like, it's critical for the person that is called out to do some reflection and just be like, wait, is that true? Am I not seeing that because I I I'm one mind and I can only see this way. Like, that's just not any fault against anyone. It's just how we are, which is why we need to seek guidance from
yeah.
others and see what other people are truly seeing about us because we may see one thing and other people's might
There you
see
go.
another. And just ask that idea, well, just live in that mindset of reflection of, am I doing what I really set out to? Am I selling my product the way that I want to? Am I really providing a good quality thing to
Yeah,
someone, um, without um, being a prick or
yeah, there you
whatever? So just having that idea of self-reflecting and
yeah,
learning
totally.
is
I
really
I
important.
totally agree with that. I know it was, like, off topic there, but I don't know, I was just saying it was like big news, but whatever. So, in a previous
Yeah.
recording, you said you had met some, like, a famous producer, recorder. Yeah, tell me.
Oh, the composer, yeah. Matteo Messiana is
Yeah.
his name. Yeah, so in that previous recording, I'll see if I can remember
Yeah,
everything
he,
I
like he, like,
said.
went through, like, all the process there and
But
stuff like that?
yeah, so I was I had the opportunity to meet this composer. that has written music for multiple different movies and TV shows. And as I said, his name before was Matteo Messiana. Um, he's a fantastic composer that yeah, he invited me in just to for him and I to get together and just talk about how he got to where he was in his life. What is his process as a composer? Me as a composer that is interested in that type of music, it was really interesting to find out how he went about writing music for different scenes and how he was almost humoristic with his stylistic writing. It was really interesting to watch all that, and it's like the most important thing that I kind of took away from that is his life story of how he got
Yeah,
there, and that was basically he was at college. I think it was like Western Washington University. He said, where at first he was doing like a business degree, but found out that he really enjoyed doing composing and was good at it. So he decided, hey, I'm just gonna go balls to the walls and try to make this become a real thing, and moved down to LA, to Hollywood, and worked for 8 years really hard on multiple different projects without getting too much recognition, but was still getting by. And then he hit gold with his movie
yeah,
Juno that he wrote the music for. And after that point, he started getting more recognition and was noticed as a really talented composer, which he is. And his career really took off at that point. And he just said, I just kept that idea of this is what I have to do to get to this point. If that requires 8 years of just tirelessly working on multiple different projects by just barely getting by
yeah.
financially, then this is what I do, and I'm really glad that I did it. It was hard and a pain in the ass, but I did it, and I'm really happy that I did it. And my family is also happy, and I'm able to provide for them and live an extraordinary life.
That's pretty badass, my man. So before we wrap this up, I kind
Yeah.
of wanted to that Hosmer thing really inspired me there as well because kind of reminded me of what I'm doing right now. So like
Hmm.
again, like once I kind of got done with my other job, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take this time to sort of build up my movie career, and I actually wanted to do this digital marketing thing with Seth Himes. I've been wanting to do that for a long time as well. So this summer, I've been just swinging for the fences and doing the stuff I wanted to do for a long time. And you know what? And hopefully I'll have like a great video resume thing by the end of the summer and continue to build on that. And then eventually I can move down to LA. And I know it's not going to be easy. I mean,
Hmm.
but then again, nothing worth
Yeah.
doing is easy. So it's life. But yeah, dude, this has been a phenomenal talk, man. Do you have any final thoughts to wrap it up, or you're kind of good?
I guess well, going back to the idea of just job hunting, again, is just persistence, and really keeping the end goal in sight. Because honestly, for being a teacher that had this as their first year of teaching,
Really rough.
and yeah, it's been terrible. Like, well, to give you even more context, the reason why the position opened up in Aberdeen is because the previous teacher had
Oh,
passed away unexpectedly. So she passed away in, I think, end of September, and they had a whole bunch of substitutes throughout the rest of the year until I came in. So the students had just been having like some good instruction, but just because it is substitutes, it's not all unified by one person that's teaching the entire program. So that is hard. And I'm thankful for the substitutes for the work that they did do, but I was glad that I was able to step in. And then the fact that when I came in for 2 months, we were doing great. We had trips planned, festivals that were going on. And then unfortunately, COVID hit and just everything shit hit the fan. And I had to entirely transform the program to an online
oh, that sucks.
platform. Um, and then get told I wasn't going to have my job
Yikes.
next year based on something I can't control, and that I didn't know what I was going to do to support my family at that point. And yes, all of that is hard. There have been nights where I've just cried and been depressed and haven't wanted to do music education ever again. But I remember back to the first reason why I did it and just the reason why I'm doing it. And my high school teacher, Mr. Scher, um, he was my inspiration for choosing this career pathway. And I try to keep him in the forefront of my mind, just being like that. I wanted to teach music to kids and just spread this language to so many students. And I don't think I'm done
Well,
with
hey,
that yet. As much as it pains me to agree with myself on that, like, I don't think I'm done yet. And I want to search for different options, different districts where I can continue to do
well,
this
hey, man.
dream. And if that means that I might have to take a year where I do
Yeah.
subbing, or a year where I work at some other place that I never expected to work at, as long as I am still financially stable and able to support my family, then that's what I have to do. If that means that the next year I get a teaching job where I have an orchestra and or a band or whatever, then I'll do that. But just keeping that persistence and the goal at the forefront of your mind is really important during this
Totally,
time.
man. Is like really hard hitting, man. And I really hope you continue on with your dream, man. Because like again, I take it
Thank you.
from like a self proclaimed loser. Like you may lose some rounds, but you will win. You will win the war eventually, right?
Yeah, you'll lose a few battles here and there, but as long as you win the war, everything it'll matter. It'll all count, and yeah, you'll be thankful that you had that level of
Yeah,
persistence.
definitely. So, but dude, this was like a real treat to have you on, man. And hopefully I can have you on again at some point. And hopefully, like when you come back, you'll
Yeah.
have like a very fun new job, and you and that
I'm
and then hey,
hoping.
we'll talk about that, man. So yeah,
Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, I'm hoping that the shoreline position.
all right. Looks like you're good there. But anyway, everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode. Be sure to share it around and have a good one. Goodbye.